SnowTrax is brought to you by Polaris. Think outside. Ski-Doo. Winter lovers, get out there and experience that Ski-Doo feeling. And by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength.
In the past, Lynx snowmobiles were sort of revered here in North America like mythical creatures. We knew they existed, and we knew they were different and very cool, but nobody really knew how they actually worked. For many years, we've been begging BRP to bring Lynx to North America. The mysticism alone would be enough to label them a premium brand, but from a technical standpoint, the only way to describe Lynx suspension components, build quality, and style is premium. One of BRP's biggest hesitations in bringing Lynx across the pond was the perceived similarities between Lynx and Ski-Doo snowmobiles. There were many who thought they were basically the same thing, just in different colors. Now, of course, now we know that nothing could be farther from the truth. While they do share some components, they are very different animals in almost every way.
We have big market share in North America with Ski-Doo. Then we wanted to bring Lynx in North America, but also we wanted to make sure we have healthy cannibalization. The last thing we wanted is the customer to think that the Lynx and the Ski-Doo is the same. The customer know that Ski-Doo and Lynx share many components, but it's very important that Ski-Doo has his own identity and Lynx has his own identity. We agree between the management of BRP and the two brand group. There is some component that need to be shared, like the power pack need to be shared. Sometimes the calibration is different, but the same power pack need to be shared. And after that, they know that the design, the look of the vehicle will be different. The rear suspension will be different. Then their ergonomy is different. We know at the team that we need to protect the DNA of each.
The main reason Lynx snowmobiles are different from their Ski-Doo cousins is because people use snowmobiles in Scandinavia differently than they do here in North America. Here, we typically ride groomed or at the very least semi-maintained trails. Rarely do we head out for a ride expecting to pound 2-foot moguls all day. Also, most snowmobilers use their sleds only for recreation. In Scandinavia, there are next to no groomed trails. Riding big bumps is snowmobiling there. Furthermore, in Scandinavia, a snowmobile is, for many users, not just a toy, but also a means to be productive and get work done, so it has to be multi-purpose.
We are different because we are from different environment, different trails. Our trails have always been worse in, compared to North America, quite the big difference. You're not waiting groomer to fix the trail, we just go riding.
We have a lot of customers that are highly enthusiastic, sports sleds buyers, but we also have a very big amount of people that are very practical. They need their sled for what they do. Quite often customers want to have just one single sled that they need to be able to use for their, what they need to get done, but they also want to have fun. And that's perhaps why models like Commander has been super popular, and I would say Commander has been the top seller since 2009, since its introduction.
We have kind of purpose-driven usage. They need to get some job done. So there is many times this aspect, and while having a job done, why couldn't it be fun, and why couldn't the sleds look nice? And the difference, of course, in a trail, making the customer needs a little bit different. So customer here is appreciating a suspension and the rideability on those, let's say, more demanding conditions. And that's why the whole package, the suspension, need to be tailored on that. The ergonomy, how the rider is positioned on the sled. In our riding, mostly the word active is kind of physical, is another word which is describing, and that's why the sleds need to be designed to support this need.
SnowTrax is brought to you by Widescape, the ultimate snowmobile for enduro adventures.
In Finland, where Lynx snowmobiles are produced, the brand is so much more than just a recreational product. In many ways, Lynx snowmobiles are a reflection of Finnish culture, which is why Finnish people have a lot of pride in the Lynx name. It's not just a product built in Finland. The DNA of a Lynx snowmobile has a lot of Finnish DNA built in.
The philosophy and ideology that we have with Lynx is very much aligned with how the Finnish mindset is. You do, you deliver, you make the best product, and then you can be proud, then you can show it to others.
In 2025, Lynx produced its 500,000th snowmobile. To celebrate this, they invited SnowTrax to come to Rovaniemi, Finland, to tour the factory and see the 500,000th sled signed by everyone who was involved in its production. I've been to Rovaniemi before, many years ago when the Can-Am 6x6 ATV was released, but I'd never been in the winter. Finnish people in this area love outdoor recreation of all kinds. Of course, snowmobiling in the winter is big, but so are all the other outdoor winter activities. Our first stop on the trip was to check out the Lynx factory where Lynx snowmobiles are built and see the 500,000th production snowmobile. As I mentioned earlier, it has been signed by literally every single person who's been involved in its design and production from start to finish. I was joined on the tour by Josie Bojeli, who explained the importance of the Lynx brand to BRP, and even more so, the importance of keeping Lynx separate from Ski-Doo to ensure the two products don't cross over. It's absolutely clear to me that Jose is as proud of Lynx as the people in Finland are, and that there are big things coming for Lynx in the future. The next stop on our tour was to check out the Snowmobile Expo in Rovaniemi. Now, this is the largest indoor snowmobile expo in the entire country, and it's attended by over 50,000 people. People travel from all over Scandinavia, some driving over 1,000 kilometers to see the latest sleds and check out the latest gear the snowmobile industry has to offer. The expo takes place in a huge arena complex and features nearly 100 exhibitors showcasing everything from clothing to suspension upgrades to trailers and everything in between. After the doors opened, it quickly became clear that A, the entire show would be standing room only, and B, the Lynx and Ski-Doo displays were the main attraction. One of the most exciting events in the Lynx display was the unveiling of the 2025 Rave RS Snowcross sled. I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked when the sheets were pulled off. In North American snowcross, the rules have basically erased any form of custom-built factory-style race sleds. But in Finland's racing circuit, there's an anything-goes approach to the pro-class sleds. The Rave RS is hand-built in an extremely limited quantity. We were told somewhere between 25 and 40 units. It features radical style and designs everywhere you look, aimed entirely at making it faster on the track. Thousands of people crowded the BRP corporate display to get a glimpse of the new Lynx race sled. The atmosphere was electric, and in my opinion, if anybody left this place without being totally stoked for winter, they need to go see a doctor. One interesting discussion that kept coming up during the trip was the relationship between BRP, Ski-Doo, and Lynx. Now, as we've seen already, it's very important for BRP to keep the Lynx and Ski-Doo brands separate, but you can't deny that they are under the same BRP umbrella and do share some similar parts. So how does that affect the way the brands interact?
Design of Ski-Doo is made in one design studio, the design of Lynx is made in the other design studio, and it's creating positive competition, which putting pressure, then we always need to beat the competition, and Ski-Doo, Lynx is part of the competition, and for the Lynx team, Ski-Doo is one of the competitor, and you raise the bar, and that's how we do better product.
Find balance between sharing components to be cost efficient and utilize the big shoulders of the BRP, but then also making sure that we deliver the riding dynamics that we want to deliver. And that's why we need to be very careful to choose the right components and the right elements that we work with. And usually it's about riding dynamics, ergonomics, things that actually matter to our customers here. There are always cases every now and then when one brand comes up with a good idea. We want to keep that quite often to ourselves for some time, and this happens both ways. We develop parts that we already shared before, then usually it's quite, open. We share those parts, but let's say if we develop something that we already had specific to Lynx, like rear suspension or anything like this, then we don't share that. We don't want to go there. We want to have our own DNAs. Ski-Doo wants to have the same thing. We want to have our own DNA, and we want to keep the brands separate.
In the past 3 years, Lynx has made a significant impact in North America. Even despite the fact that their vehicles are built for a completely different market, they have won numerous best-in-class awards here.
What I quickly started to realize, though, that kind of conditions, that kind of environment, and that kind of customers that appreciate these features, you can actually find quite a lot of them in North America as well. It was a key priority from the very beginning not to change anything for North American market. We want to stick to what we are. We want to be loyal for our Scandinavian customers, and we want to keep what Lynx is. We don't want to change any of that. Even if Lynx was always built and designed for the Scandinavian market, the general spirit within these walls, it's probably better than ever. It's not that they didn't know we had the best product already. We kind of got the confirmation that our product truly is as good as we believed and we knew. But the fact that it's now confirmed globally, of course it feels good for the whole company and for all the people.
SnowTrax is brought to you by Princess Auto. Ideas, tools.
Hey, welcome back to the Trail Tech Shop, where today I am going to install and test a product that's been around for quite some time, but has had a complete overhaul for this season. And that product is the Kimpex Rouski retractable wheel system. There are a bunch of options in the way of wheels on your skis to keep you from damaging your carbides and plastic skis, either early or late season, as well as when running longer distances across hard surfaces. Or heck, maybe it's just protecting your paved driveway and garage floor from getting carved up. Or in my case, keeping our rubber floor in place as the carbides always pull things out of alignment. Whatever your reason, there's a new player in this category. Okay, well maybe not a new name, but a totally new design in the way of the Rouski EVO. What's new about it, you might ask? Well, to be honest, absolutely everything. Right up front is the multi-platform changeability, where you now buy your adapter plate for whatever ski you have on your sled and then bolt up the same Rouski EVO mechanism to any of the adapter plates. This is especially handy for those of you with multiple sleds in the stable who don't necessarily want to equip all of your sleds with the Rouski at one time. Now with just a few quick minutes, you can swap the mechanism to any sled equipped with an adapter. Today I've got both the Ski-Doo equipped with the Pilot X skis as well as a Polaris with the Pro Steer ski. So now that we have the adapter plates on both of our sleds, we're going to go ahead and mount up the Rouski EVO mechanism to the Polaris along with our 136mm wheel set. So with our Rouski EVO on the Polaris Pro Steer, let's take a look at the big differences. Obviously this system is much more refined and sleek. It no longer sits on and over the ski, and it looks kind of like the Terminator's arm with all these springs. And while I like the cool updated look, I like the functionality far more. In the past, you'd need to pull up on the tip of the ski until the pressure was released from the center of the ski to get the Rouski to engage. Now you only need to push down with your foot on the main lever and voila, your wheel is engaged. Now that is massively easier and nice for anyone lightweight or a bit older who's not feeling comfortable to try to lift the front end of their sled. Now on top of the easy to deploy foot lever, there's a couple of new changes that allow the Rouski to either stay deployed all the time or not be deployed at all. A simple to use slide lock allows you to keep the Rouski in the deployed position. This is especially helpful for those of you who have used a ski wheel system and had the wheel disengage when going over a bump in the pavement, the hinge of your trailer, or even the ramp door where it contacts the driveway. Now with the slide lock, you know your wheel is locked in and set, and this allows for the speed to be increased to 25 kilometers per hour when used from the previous 20 kilometers an hour of the old Rouski system. Now should you want the ability to just rock the front end to disengage and you're not worried about keeping your wheels locked, you can still do that and choose to not engage the lock. You can also engage the lock in the trail position if you're concerned that the wheels might get bumped and try to deploy. Maybe you're playing off trail, simply slide the lock when not deployed and they won't go anywhere. Not only is the Rouski EVO simpler and easier to use with added safety features, it also has longevity baked into it. Easy to swap out 136mm wheels can be replaced at any time from Kimpex's website, and you'll notice the Rouski EVO mechanism also has a built-in grease zerk to allow you to grease the main pivot of the EVO each season, or even more often if you find yourself using the wheels at greater intervals, early or late season, when the snow can become skinny and the need to traverse gravel roads or paved road sections linking trails or accessing fuel, accommodations, and restaurants becomes greater. Adding a set of Rouski EVOs to your sled isn't just smart for saving your carbides and your plastic skis from excess wear, it also adds a certain level of confidence and rideability on surfaces other than snow and ice, which increases your ability to ride your sled later into the season and also ups the safety factor.
SnowTrax has been brought to you by FXR, brings you more. MBRP Performance Exhaust, make your sled stand out. And by Arctic Cat, share our passion.
Well, the long wait is finally over for what I think could actually be the most anticipated Arctic Cat snowmobile in all of Arctic Cat's history. It is the ZR137 Catalyst 858 stroker with ATAC. Now, right up front, the wait for this 858 mil has been nail-biting. The Arctic Cat diehards have been visiting the green blood bank to get their regular injections to keep them alive while they wait for a larger than 600 Catalyst to be released. And it is finally here. The 858 has a mean stance, demands attention, and in my opinion, might just be the best looking sled on snow for 2025. I mean, come on. That green and black screams that the Cat is back, if anything ever did. Now, I will touch on some of the platform specifics in just a moment, but for right now, let's talk about the real news for 2025, the thing that you've all been waiting for, because really, the engine under the hood is what you want to hear about. Now, the previous 8000 series 794 dual-stage injected two-stroke was a significant step up over the older 800 twin sleds before 2018. The DSI 800 produced what Cat called 160 class horsepower. Now we have the new generation 858 stroker built for the Catalyst platform, and with its 8% increase in displacement, we see an 11% increase in horsepower. So with my basic math skills, they must be claiming the new 858 to be somewhere in the mid-170s for power. I mean, 175 to 177 should be rough numbers, but how believable is that? Considering the competition with their turbos are sitting in somewhere around the 180 horsepower range, does this new Arctic Cat mill pull ponies close to what they claim? And obviously not. This is still an 850 class sled, but what I can say is that the power from the seat of the pants feel is extremely good. And this is Arctic Cat's engineering at its best. The 125 Ripsaw struggles to put the 858's power to the ground, and the 4% reduction in overall weight of the engine, with the Catalyst lightweight design and highly effective belt drive, all transfer into a ridiculously potent 850 class sled. The weight numbers are still yet to be determined, but I don't think there's any doubt that this is the lightest naturally aspirated 850 class sled on the market. And you know, it's really the way that the Catalyst places the weight in the chassis. You got the laydown engine as well as that really low CG, and it makes for a sled that you can throw around through the corners on your favorite trail with ease. Now, the sled that I'm testing has the ATAC electronic suspension, and while it's not as tech heavy as the other smart suspensions, it does give you the ability to quickly soften or stiffen up the ride depending on trail conditions. The AWS 42-inch front end is very confident and doesn't want to lift the inside ski too much. However, I do find that this front end to be trail condition dependent. When the snow is frozen and tight in the mornings and evenings, you'll notice some push through the corners, although less than the 600 showed, and that's possibly due to the extra weight of the engine package. When the snow softens a little or gets run in from other riders, the front end really hits its sweet spot and allows you to summon your inner cross-country racer and lay down corner to corner off the side of the sled carvings. This sled almost feels a part of you, and you'll quickly realize just how big a deal lower weight and low CG really is. Now, when it comes to rear end compliance and rideability, the rear slide action skid really hasn't seen many changes over the years. But in the world of R-Motion and Pro CC, is the slide action up to the job? Well, it works decent and it does provide an okay overall ride, but this is one area that AIRTIC needs to up their game. And I really feel with a more compliant and better riding rear suspension, the Catalyst would really be up to the game of challenging its competitors from Ski-Doo and Polaris. And that's not to say that the rear skid is bad, it's just that the rest of the industry has been pushing really hard in this department, and the slide action has been around for quite a long time with relatively little change overall. Now, I know one of the areas that you're all wondering about is the G8 display powered by Garmin. Is it as good as Polaris' 7S or the 10.2 from Ski-Doo? And the answer is yes, yes, and a resounding yes. I mean, this thing even has the Track Your Dog app if your puppers has the Garmin tracking collar. Not sure how that's useful, but it is cool. With a company who makes watches like Garmin does and standalone GPS units, I was hopeful it would be everything I could imagine. But truthfully, it's so much more. The ZR858 Catalyst is a promising new package for AIRTIC Cat for 2025, and it's my opinion that AIRTIC is a rear skid and a few small adjustments away from not only having the lightest sled in the market, but definitely having a top competitor in the 850 big bore class.